Hi everybody, welcome to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and this is my, well, it must be my annual complete beginner's guide to how to get better at and how to play and how to enjoy and how to have fun in the multiplayer of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Now, if you already know how to play COD, this isn't going to give you any secrets or anything like that. This is really for people who are really rusty. Maybe you're a veteran who's coming back after a few years, or you're a new player and you're dipping your toe this year because you've heard some good things about Modern Warfare 3. And it is a good COD this year. The campaign is a little bit lackluster. The zombies is very, very good and very, very accessible to everybody. And the multiplayer is a good, solid COD. So, first things first, we're going to dive into the settings because these can be quite important. And so, bring up the settings, and then we want to go into the controller first. And probably after you've sorted out things like turning vibration off, what else have we got? And then we go over to aiming. And what you want to look at is you want to look at your stick sensitivity. Stick sensitivity is something that, as a new player, it's easy to get obsessed about, and it is something you will be coming back and you will be changing. However, the mistake that lots of people fall into is having their stick sensitivity too high. So the bigger the number, the faster your player will turn and the faster you'll be able to move around. Sorry, not the faster your player will move, but the faster you look around. And the problem with this is it's very easy to overcompensate and miss targets. And it's very easy to chase your sensitivity up and down and keep changing it every other game, thinking, oh, I wasn't very accurate then, let me change the sensitivity. The key to getting a good sensitivity that suits you is to start with the number and stick with it for a number of days. Then if you get to a point where your accuracy is very, very good, but you're either tracking targets and you can't keep up with them, or you're over tracking, so you're going past them, that's when you change your sensitivity. So if you're spinning around trying to get on target with someone and you're not keeping up with them, you may want to increase your sensitivity a little bit. If you find you're whizzing past them and then having to compensate to get back to shoot at them, then your sensitivity is too high and you want to take it down. But there is nothing wrong with having a low sensitivity. Mine's been 3 for years now, and I'm more than happy with that. Aim response curve may be worth looking at. There's lots of different ways of doing it. I tend to go for linear, and that's what I use that way. And as for lots of the other stuff, there's plenty of videos that show you out there. But again, once you change stuff, stick with it for a long time. Graphics wise, it's a good idea to turn motion blur off, weapon motion blur off, turn film grain off, depth of field off, and increase your field of view. I have mine at about 100, so that you can see sideways. Remember, we are cross-play with PC players, and they're probably using 120 to do it that way. And then audio, you probably want to go in and turn off. Here we go. What we got? Gameplay music. Just turn the gameplay music off. Mine's at 50, the master, because that's to do with capturing gameplay. So you can ignore that. You can have that up at 100. So once you kind of settle with that, the best thing to do as a new player is to play through the campaign. This will get used to you're going to get used to your basic movement, running around, jumping, going prone. It's going to give you tell you how to do all of that sort of stuff. Get used to using and firing the weapons in a very easy environment. Play the campaign on easy and you'll be fine. Also this year, I recommend you jump in and play the zombies because it's very, very accessible. I'll put a link to my video, my beginner's guide to playing zombies. Lots of other people have done them as well because, again, it's a nice, easy environment. There's no PvP in zombies. Other players can't kill you. The NPCs in the map and the zombies can, but they're fairly easy to deal with, and you'll become, again, more proficient with moving around, driving vehicles where you want to, changing guns, and playing around with different sorts of guns, and that way. Okay, so let's go into multiplayer, and let's discuss a little bit about loadouts. I don't want to go in too deep because it's very early days of the game, so whatever the meta will be, we're not quite sure. So if we go into weapons, for example, and then I go into my loadouts, you see I've got 3 loadouts kind of at the moment. I'm mainly just using these 2 here. So I've got an assault rifle loadout with an RPG and an assault rifle loadout with a sniper rifle because I've been practicing with the sniper rifles. At the moment in Modern Warfare 3, it appears that assault rifles really are the meta. They're very good, and probably the MCW could be, you know, one of the better ones. If we go into this, if we press X, we can go into the gunsmith. Now, in the gunsmith, you can add attachments to your gun. And a guy I'd recommend you follow is a guy called Exclusive Ace, and I'll put a link to his channel down below. And he does builds where he'll take a gun and he'll give you different builds for it for use in different situations. So maybe like a long distance build or a stealth build or something like that. But you can kind of, once you've unlocked the things, you can go with what I've done here. Up until level 4, I think you can't do this, but there's nothing wrong with playing with the default weapons, which are the ones that are already set up for you in the game when you go into a match, because there's some really good choices, and they've got the attachments and the guns already unlocked. And then when you get to level 4, level 5, you can start playing around with your own stuff as well, but there's plenty of other videos out there. Sniper rifles aren't that very effective, I don't think. In this game it's quite tricky to do as a beginner. The reason why I go with a launcher though is because I play a lot of domination and hardpoint, and launchers are great for killing people. When you get 2 players on a domination flag, fire an RPG at it and you can kill both of them fairly easily. Other stuff I use smoke grenades because, again, I'm playing domination, so they're good for capturing. The trophy system is a rather handy little gadget that when someone throws a grenade towards you, it intercepts it and blows it up. We've got quick grip gloves. I've unlocked the covert sneakers so I can run around quietly, and we've got EOD padding and tac mass again to protect me when I'm on flags. And we get this because we're using the engineer's vest. The engineer vest gives us that extra bit of gear at the expense of not being able to have a lethal grenade to throw. But you know, you can play around with this, and the meta will change over time. So as Activision and the developers balance the game, it could be that submachine guns become very, very powerful. One of the loadouts I tend to work towards, actually, that I quite like doing, is I tend to go with like a submachine gun and then an assault rifle or a battle rifle with a scope on it, and have it fully automatic as well. But we'll have to see how effective that will be. Now, when it comes to which game modes you should play, and if you press X on Xbox, you can bring up the filter. I would suggest that when you start off, probably the game modes that you want to play, I would start off with the classic team deathmatch, because it's you with some teammates on a map against the enemies, and you're just running around trying to kill each other. So it will get you used to the guns and the gameplay. Free for all is a little bit more nuanced because it's all against all. So this is where you're going to be going quiet and you're going to be listening for where the other players are. Remember, you are going to be wearing headphones. Don't try and play Call of Duty without headphones on. And you'll get to learn the different aspects of the map at a slower pace. Domination is where I think you should be moving towards. Domination, I think, once you've been playing Call of Duty a while, is one of the best modes because it's objective based. You've got 3 flags, one at each end of the map and one in the middle, and it's based on points. So whoever captures and holds those flags earns points. So you want to capture 2 out of the 3. And being objective, it means that players have to play the objective if they want to win, which means the whole game becomes more predictable and more tactical, and that's my favourite game mode. So I'd say start off with team deathmatch, free for all, domination, and eventually you'll probably just go to playing domination, or you may even start playing hardpoint as well. Nothing wrong with playing the other game modes and checking them out, but they're the ones I would suggest you play. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, as I say, when you start off, you want to be starting off by playing through the campaign, and you want to be playing through the playing a bit of the zombies. But what we're going to do, we're going to go to a private match, and I highly recommend you do this, because what we're going to do is we're going to go to a private match and we're going to load into a map with nobody else there. So go into private match. Sometimes you've got to go up here and press a button, and it will, after a few seconds, it will set the match up. Let's see if it works. There we go. And then we can go down at the bottom here to game setup, and let's choose Scrapyard as our map. We could use Team Deathmatch. It doesn't matter because we haven't got anybody else spawning in with us. See, there's nobody in Team 2. So what we can do, we just say start now, and we're just going to spawn in on an empty match. I'm going to show you some basic movement and some basic tenets, some sort of tactics that you can use to keep yourself alive and keep yourself effectively moving around the map in order to do so. Okay, so we'll equip this. There we go. Let's get started. Right, so here we are, we're in the practice match. There's nobody else on the field, which is great. So obviously you've got your left and your right on your left stick, haven't you? You can go backwards and forwards. You can tap B, I think it is, on your controller. I'm not sure what that is on PlayStation, to be honest. I should have a PlayStation controller to hand, shouldn't I? So I can tell you these things. It's circle on PlayStation to do that, and then if you hold it, you'll hit the dirt. It's all good, all standard stuff. This sort of jump, left trigger to aim down sights, right trigger to fire, that sort of thing. Now, beyond this basic stuff, I just wanted to talk about right-hand advantage, pusher's advantage, and mini-map awareness. So what is right-hand advantage? Well, all the characters in Call of Duty are right-handed. So what that means is if you come up to a corner, say this corner here, and I suspect that there's someone up there, if I just peek like this, slightly like that, if you think about what I would actually look like, it would only really be the gun and my right arm and shoulder and a little bit of my head poking out, because the rest of the bulk of my body would be to the left of this corner. Whereas if I was on this side and I peeked like this, most of my body is going to be outside and showing to the other player, and it's really only my right arm that is hidden. So that means one advantage you can do as you're moving around the map is if you always go to the right like this, you're going to expose less of your body to the enemies. Of course, people know this and they can take advantage of it, and you can take advantage of it too. The fact that lots of players will be more players than not will be moving around the map in a clockwise manner, or they will be approaching edges of things in a clockwise manner. Now the next thing is pusher's advantage. Now this is just something that happens in online video games, and what that is if you are staying still like I am here, say I was defending this area here, my character isn't moving, they're in the same place all the time. And so the information of where I am gets sent up to a central server, then gets distributed to all the other consoles or PCs, like that. But because I'm not moving, that's quite constant. However, let's imagine there's a player over here who's coming up to the place that I'm defending, and he's sprinting along, he's tactical sprinting, so he's double-clicked on his left stick, and he's sprinting along, and he jumps out, and he fires. What happens is, because he is moving fast, you'll get a situation where he will see me before I see him, and this is to do with the tick or ping of the tick of the server. So as it updates, and then you have the delay of that information getting sent centrally and sent out, just means that he will sometimes have the advantage. So if you find yourself in gunfights like that and you lose, and you think, well, wait a minute, I should have been able to see him first, that's just pusher's advantage. It's just something that happens. And it can get better, it can get worse, really depends on the server and your ping to the server and that sort of thing. One of the ways that you can kind of balance it is that if you're defending someone coming out of here, don't aim right at that corner there. Be ready for where they're going to be. And in this game, lots of people like to slide, so you could sort of aim to the right a bit, and they like to bunny hop, so you might want to aim a little bit higher. So always be thinking about that. Where are they going to be after, say, their next 2 steps when they come around the corner? Not immediately as they come around the corner, that sort of thing. So the next thing is centering. What does that mean? So as you're moving around the map, and these private matches are great for this, because you're going to learn the map. Always be thinking about where your gun sights are, where the middle of the screen is. In fact, people used to stick like blobs of blue tack in the middle of the screen and have that little dot where a player could possibly be. And this really comes with learning the maps as well. So as I come through here, I know there's a door there, so my sights are going to be there just in case that door opens. I'm keeping there, flash through the door. Now here we flick over to here because there is an alleyway, and I know there's a window to the right, so I'm starting to move across so we can cover that window there and that window there. Then as we move out, players are probably going to be coming out of there, so we're going to keep our crosshairs there. We can hop over here, and then as we jump through this window, I know that players are probably going to be up on this balcony here, so I'm keeping my aim all the way up there. say we go up here, we go through, just aim over there, go through this door. Now players are going to be down here, so again I'm centering by keeping my eyes over there. So let's go back down again. So as we're going down the stairs, players are going to be coming through this way. So I'm kind of moving in one direction but aiming another. And as we come over here, I know that there's a kind of a square brick building there. So we're kind of aiming there. We can have a quick look there just to see. And then we know there's a door down here, so we cover that door like that. And as you come through the door, there's an opening to the left and an opening front. So that's the immediate threat there. But then we've also got a threat there. Unfortunately, you do have to make a choice about which way you're facing. So generally, you want to be looking in the direction that you're going in, rather than kind of running along, strafing sideways like this. And that's why, especially with pusher's advantage as well, generally, in a situation where you don't know where the enemies are, because they're not firing and nobody's got UAV up, you'll want to be sort of moving forward, because then you can come across the enemy, so you can keep things tight, keep centering, and keep moving around like that. Now, while you're doing this, you want to be looking up at the minimap every couple of seconds, and looking to see where your teammates are, and if a UAV isn't up, basically the enemies are going to be where your teammates aren't. If they fire their gun though, they're going to appear on that, and they'll also appear on your compass at the top of the screen. Now all this takes time, you're gradually building up the muscle memory and kind of the feelings of what you should be doing, so that when you're actually in gunfights, you're not thinking about where people are and how to ADS and pulling the trigger and throwing grenades and doing all that sort of stuff. You're actually doing things pretty much automatically, and what that then does is that then frees your brain up to think tactically about what strategy you should be doing to make the game work for your team. So there we go, so that's basic movement. So what we're going to do now is let's leave this match and we're going to set up a game against bots. Now this is a super important thing to do, and I highly recommend before you go into public matches, play lots and lots of games against bots. That way, when you do spawn in against the bots, you're not going to be frustrated. You're going to have a reasonably good experience, and you're going to get used to throwing grenades, you're going to get used to using kill streaks, hopefully, and generally improve your accuracy. So what we're going to do now is we'll still do team deathmatch, but we'll come up here and we'll add, let's add sort of 5 players onto my side. They're all recruits. And then on team 2, let's add 5 players. So how many have we got actually? 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll do. Let's go back to team 2. Let's add 6. There we go. So we've got all those players there. So team deathmatch. We can go into the setup actually, and we can go to custom game rules, and we could put the time limit up, put the score limit up, put the start time down. We could go to gameplay, and we could scroll down to maximum ammo mag, so we're not going to run out of ammo. And then we can click start, and this is going to be a game against recruit bots. Now you don't need to set the bots any harder than this, and obviously you can play different game modes. You can learn domination, search and destroy, free for all that sort of stuff, and this is purely just getting that muscle memory built into your hands on your controller or on your keyboard. It's a great way of testing out new loadouts as well. So remember we talked about map awareness, so if you look at the mini map in the top left hand corner, see where my buddies are, and think, okay, so the enemies are going to be the other place. They're going to be over there, or they're going to be over there. And in fact, what we could do is we could bring up the TAC map and have a look. And you see they're there. Now, we're going to start off the match by spawning here. Okay, so that if you die, this is where you're going to start again. But as things change and the enemies come to this end of the map, our spawn points will actually move. And could well go to the other end of the map. So also the thing to think about is, when you do spawn in, if it's a little bit unusual, just ask yourself, why have I spawned in here? And the reason is because there must be enemies where I would have spawned in. So again, we know the enemies are probably going to be in front of us. If you look, see where my mates are, they've got the spawning in over there. In fact, there we go, over there. And they'll be over here. Oh, there's one behind me. So they're going to be spawning in front of me or kind of over to the left. There we go, there's one. As you can see, they're recruit bots, so they don't exactly move around a lot, so they're really good targets just to get used to And now we've got a kill streak. Ooh. Clicking the right stick to do a melee. Click and hold it to do a finishing move. Right, click and hold and right on the D-pad. Then we can choose precision airstrike on you. Let's have the Wilson. Let's put him into sentry mode. There we go, and then we're off again. And just run around and just do this. You might even only ever play Call of Duty multiplayer like this against bots. But it really helps you to get to know the map. You can practice all things like, you know, moving safely. Swapping between weapons, jumping, sliding, firing rockets, putting down a field upgrade, all this sort of stuff. And it really is very, very good. When I first started playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Call of Duty multiplayer many years ago, this is how I started, because I didn't play online games until quite late on, and so I was very, very rusty indeed. There we go, so let's leave that, because that's giving you a really good idea about that. So there we go. That really has been my beginner's guide. Hopefully this will have given you some ideas about how to change your settings. Remember, play the campaign first, play the zombies, go with a nice simple loadout, but probably based around an AR, and there's nothing wrong with using the default ones that the game provides. Go into your practice modes, practice right-hand advantage, go into pusher's advantage, practice looking at the mini-map, do that team deathmatch, private custom match against bots, and you will get better. In fact, that could be really your speed and accuracy drill. And the most important thing, I think, is have fun with it. What I tend to find is in the evenings when you're playing, if you play in the evenings, the best time to play COD is normally between about 6:30 and about 9:00 PM, because that's when the most amount of people are actually playing online. And that's very important for skill-based matchmaking, because it means that you're going to be put in with players of similar skills. If you go earlier in the day or you go later on at night, you get a lot less people, so you can get put in with players who are really quite good, and it can be frustrating doing that. But the beauty with this year's Call of Duty as well is that if you find the multiplayer a little bit frustrating and you haven't finished the campaign, obviously go and finish the campaign. But one of the things I would say is, jump in and play a little bit of zombies, because it is a lot of fun and a great way to level up your weapons. Okay, so that's enough from me. Hopefully you found this useful. If you have, hit like if you want to see more, press subscribe, and I will of course see you again soon.